All right, we're looking at the R4 video. Here the goal is to divide rational expressions. Now, when it comes to dividing rational expressions, I want to go back. Let's recall what it's like to divide fractions. So recall dividing fractions. Now, your teacher in 6th grade taught you this thing called keep, change, flip, and then when I ask you what that means, you go, I have no idea. So here I'm going to try my best I can, but here I want you to understand it's as simple as we're going to flip the second fraction, and then we're going to multiply. So just as we did in whenever we were multiplying rational expressions, factor, 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 cancel where you can. Here, it's the same thing, except I have to flip the second fraction when I do that. So let's go over an example here. If I had something like 21 over 15 divided by, let's go with 14 over 9, right? Well, if I'm going to divide these, I have to flip the second one and then multiply. So I'm going to factor these just like I did in the other one. 21 times 21 is really 3 times 7. 15 is 3 times 5. And now instead of division, I'm going to switch it into multiplication. And now I need to flip these. 9 is really 3 times 3, and 14 is really 2 times 7. Right, so notice the 14 is on the bottom, and the 9 is on the top. Right, so I flipped the second fraction. The first fraction stayed the same. I had to flip the second fraction, and then I switched it from division to multiplication. Right? And now we're going to cancel everything that we can. Those 3's are gone. That 7 is going to cancel with that 7. And it looks like I have 3 times 3, which is 9, over 5 times 2, which is 10. And we're good. So let's take a look at what happens whenever I'm trying to deal with this in rational expressions. Right? There's going to be some variables involved. So let's take a look. I have 5 over 20 divided by 5x over 3. Well, I want to break this again. We're going to break this down as much as we possibly can. 5 I cannot break down, so 5 is going to stay here. I will simplify to the right here. 5 is going to stay as 5. 20 is really 2 times 2 times 5, right? 4 times 5. Division turns into multiplication, and now I got to flip this guy. So the 3, he's not on the bottom, now he's on the top. And the 5x, I can't break that down any further, and we're done. Now I got to look to see what cancels. Well, the 5 is going to cancel with that 5. This 3 doesn't cancel with anything on the bottom, and there's no other 5 or x on the top. So now I'm left with 1 times 3, which is 3. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 5 is 20. And then I have x. That's as far as I could take it. Let's take a look at one more example here. We got actually 2 more examples. Try and make this video as quick as possible. So here we have 6 over, let's call it 28x plus 4 divided by 6 over 35x plus 5. All right. Now again, the first fraction stays the same, but as I do this, I want to factor where I can. I'm not going to break the 6 down because I see there's another 6. So I'm just going to leave 6 alone. But 28x plus 4, I know that 28 and 4, they both have a 4 in common. 28 divided by 4 is 7, and it's got an x to go with it. 4 divided by 4 is 1. The division turns into multiplication. And now I got to flip this fraction. I got to flip him over. So the 6, he's no longer on top. He's now on the bottom. The 35x plus 5, well, I could factor a 5 out of there. And 35x divided by 5 is 7x. And 5 divided by 5 is 1. Well, now that I'm dealing with multiplication, I can cancel where I can. So that 6 is going to cancel with that 6. That 7x plus 1 is going to cancel with that 7x plus 1. Right? That 6 turned into a 1. This 6 turned into a 1. 1 times 5 is 5. 4 times 1 is 4. And that's all she wrote. Let's try one more example here. One more example. We're given x squared minus 2x minus 15 over 8x plus 20. We're going to divide that by 2 over 4x plus 10. All right. So here, again, I'm going to factor everything out, switch the division into multiplication, and flip the second fraction. So here we go. All right. X squared minus 2x minus 15. The factors of 15 that subtract to 2 are 5 and 3, different signs, and the negative is going to go with the 5. So here I have x minus 5 and x plus 3. 8x plus 20, my greatest common factor here is a 4. So I'll bring a 4 out. 8x divided by 4 is 2x, plus 20 divided by 4 is 5. Division turns into multiplication, and now I have to flip the fraction. So the 2 is no longer on top, he's now on the bottom. 4x divided by 10, or excuse me, 4x plus 10. My greatest common factor here is a 2, so I can bring a 2 out. And 4x divided by 2 is 2x. 10 divided by 2 is a positive 5. And now I'm going to see, where can I cancel? Well, the clearly obvious one is these 2's right here. Do I have an x minus 5? No. X plus 3? No. I have a 2x plus 5 here and here, so I'm going to get that guy out with that guy. And now, my top, I have x minus 5 times x plus 3 times 1, so my numerator now is x minus 5 times x plus 3, over 4 times 1, which is 4. And that's as far as I can take it. Again, factor everything. Factor everything. The first fraction stays the same. Division turns into multiplication, and we flip the second fraction and cancel. It's just that easy.